Dion, we already discussed how Purdue came in at number one in the preseason AP poll. Brian Newbert over at Gold and Black, the Purdue site on 3, wrote a little piece on takeaways for Purdue being ranked number one, and one quote was especially noteworthy. I'd encourage you to make sure you're subscribed to On3, go read the full article, but he said this. Essentially intimated that voters are gravitating toward coaches' reputations and that Painter is getting the sort of benefit of the doubt that Tom Izzo has had many years and that Bo Ryan did for years prior to his retirement. So again, you're seeing Painter mentioned in the same rarefied air as Izzo and Bo Ryan when he was at Wisconsin. What do you make of this quote? What do you make of the Boilers? Just the respect, the standard they've established.
Um, I mean, listen. I love it. Bo Ryan feels kind of crazy. Am I crazy for thinking that that portion of this quote's a little insane?
That like Painter's being mentioned with Bo Ryan, or that Bo Ryan's being mentioned with Painter
And Izzo,
and Izzo. That Bo Ryan is in the Painter and Izzo tier.
yeah, it feels like. I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from Bo Ryan, but it feels like Paint's kind of been in that tier. If
Mm-hmm.
you told me he's entering the Izzo tier, to me that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I see that more so than with Ryan. I think Bo Ryan made 2 national title games.
Hmm.
Am I forgetting one? Let
Well,
me look.
obviously Decker and Kaminsky and them, right?
Right, they lost to Duke. He made the Final Four the year before that. Finished fifth on Kimpom, I believe. Um, who did they lose to? They lost to Kentucky in the Final Four, and a bad Kentucky team at that. The one that had Julius Randle, that was an 8 seed. So yeah,
That
if you
was a
look at,
bad that was a bad Kentucky team.
I mean, for their standards, or I should say this, like they were not supposed to make the national title game.
No, that's fair. I was just best right. There's like 8 first round picks on that roster, and for Cal Potter, like yeah, that team stunk.
Well, they were an 8 seed, but they still packed up Bo Ryan and Wisconsin in the Final Four. So Ryan finished his career national runner-up season in 2015 to Duke, made the Final Four the year before that. I believe he had 4 30-win seasons. So if you compare that to Paint right now, Paint already has as many national title appearances. And I guess the one thing that would distinguish Ryan from him is he has that one more Final Four. But when you're talking about the 31 seasons, I mean, Paint's already hit that threshold 3 times. Actually, only twice. Never mind. Fact checking on the fly here, but he's hit 29 wins a bunch of times. So yeah, I think he's already in that Bo Ryan tier in my opinion. It's like Ryan just has him beat slightly on the Final Four, but even with Izzo, like Izzo has just done it for so long and has the Final Fours and the one national title that I think will truly set him apart when you're talking 10 best coaches of all time. Izzo's always going to be in that discussion. And I still think Paint has a level to reach before he gets to that. Maybe he gets there this year with a national title. But I do think those who are paying attention, and I say this as someone who's in a lot of ACC circles where there still is Purdue skepticism. It's like all the old heads who love what the ACC was 10 years ago have not realized that Purdue has been the most, if not the most, among the top 3 most consistent programs over the past half decade. Then yeah, you're going to start giving Paint the benefit of the doubt you do with Izzo year in after year in, year out, that just regardless of who's on the roster, he has a system and he's going to make it work.
I mean, even last year, right? Like I don't think any of us are terribly high on the Purdue team that they trotted out last year. Sweet 16 was ranked as highly as 6. That's the standard for Purdue now, where it's like, hey, a top 4 seed in the tournament isn't good enough. And I think that is a great standard to have if you're Paint. I mentioned on the previous short from this morning. Purdue now for the last 5 years has been ranked number one at some point in the season. I think they're going to be ranked number one for a long time this season too. But he's created a standard for himself that is of a Tom Izzo, that is of a Bo Ryan. To be fair too, Bo Ryan's name just in it just felt a little odd, more so than like the actual accolades he's had. But he's definitely in that discussion, and you know what is a I mean this respectfully, but what has like Nate Oates done, Paint hasn't done? What has John Shire done, Paint hasn't done? Like, what have any of these coaches we look at through this lens of like you're the future of this sport done that Paint hasn't done?
Mm-hmm.
And then you really look at his age. Is Paint that much older than any of them? He's in his 50s. Like we act like Paint's in his 70s, trying to
Yeah.
like grasp at straws. He has like one last shot at it. Now, do I think Payne's probably closer to retirement than some of the other names I mentioned? Yes, I do. But he's not, he's not Rick Barnes' age.
Hmm.
And for what it's worth, again, what has Rick Barnes done in this sport Matt Painter hasn't done?
Dion, you okay? You look a little sweaty.
So every August, September, my air conditioning breaks, and there's just nothing I can do about it.
Dude, that's tough. Out in California too? Like, I mean, what is it, like 80 degrees still there today?
Today's gonna be like 85, 90, but like peak summer, it gets like 110. My AC just doesn't ever hold up.
I mean, it sounds like it's a bummer that you can't take advantage of Duncan Mechanical Solutions because Duncan Mechanical Solutions is an HVAC company based in Angola, servicing the tri-state area, bringing commercial quality to the residential world with excellent customer service. You heard us talk about Duncan Mechanical last summer. If you need heating or air conditioning, kitchen or bath remodeling, or all of the above, Duncan Mechanical is the place to go in the Midwest. Go to duncanmechanicalsolutions.com to take advantage and make sure you don't wind up like Dion.
And I think you're gonna find like you could keep down the list. Like there's not many coaches that have accomplished what Payne has done.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if you're a Purdue fan, you just got to be ecstatic that you got another decade plus probably to look forward to with this when you mentioned the age. And I've said this on other videos we've done on Purdue, but I think what stands out the most to me is he adapted after last year. You know, I think you could go back 2 to 3 years and it didn't seem like he was really working the portal much. They had Lance Jones 2 years ago, but he was an under the radar pickup that panned out way better than I think anyone expected. This year, he got the big fish with Clough. I mean, that to me is massive. And then if you even look at the type of recruits he's going after now, it doesn't even matter like how many of them you land. Like I know they lost out on Ralph Scott recently to Tennessee. And maybe they don't end up with Cam Williams or any of the other big game hunting that they're the big game that they're going hunting for. But I just still love to see him going for it. You know, it looks like a marked change in philosophy. And I think that to me shows like to survive in this era of college basketball, you hear over and over again, you see the older coaches start to fizzle out. The ones who survive are the ones who adapt and grind and figure out ways to find talent in unorthodox ways and can occasionally get that big fish that can be a program changer. Purdue might have gotten two of them this year, just with Meyer and Clough. Like you look at their shortcomings last year. So yeah, I agree with Brian's assessment of this, what he wrote for the On3 site, that yeah, Paint has that benefit of the doubt, and he does for good reason. I don't really see it stopping anytime soon based on these adjustments, based on the way he's answered the bell from. I mean, you can't tell that man anything once you lose to a 16 seed and come back from it. Like he's seen the rock bottom, you know? Like you probably would rather miss the tournament altogether than to lose to a 16 seed just with the opportunity ahead of you. The fact that he's bounced back in such an admirable fashion, you gotta love it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and he's building rosters in different capacities too. Like he's had the roster with the how tall is he? He's 7'3"
Yeah.
at least. 7'3" dominant center. Now he has a roster with a 6 foot dominant point guard. If you look at like how he's recruiting, he currently has TK, one of the best back to the basket fours, in the country, if not the best back to the basket four in the country. And he's looking for stretch fours going into the following year.
Mm-hmm.
He's building rosters that evolutionize like through different eras of the sport, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
He's changing the way he does things. He wasn't huge on NIL at times. Dropped a bag on Meyer, dropped a bag on Clough, kept Jacobson, kept TK, kept Fletch, kept Braden. Maybe they could have got more money elsewhere. Doesn't mean they didn't get a lot of money to stay at Purdue.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And this is a very expensive roster that they have on their hands. He's doing things in a different capacity, the international game, transfer portal, so on and so forth. He doesn't get enough credit, I would say. Like I said, like choose somebody you think is a great coach. Show me what they've done in the sport Peyton hasn't done. Mark Few, I'm staring at you. What have you done Matt Painter hasn't done? And I just think the list goes on and on. Like you show me a great legendary coach, I'll show you somebody that hasn't done anything Pate hasn't done.
Well said. Once again, congrats, Purdue. Don't have another soliloquy for you, but enjoy the ride.